Evening. Welcome back to Beyond the Lane, episode 30. Big up everybody in the chat. Big up to everyone watching at home. Hope you're all doing well tonight. Please get involved with your comments throughout the show. I'll try and get through as many as possible. Look, let's welcome in the guests. So we've got a couple of debutants on the show tonight. One's not here yet, but let's welcome in Chris. How are you, man? Thank you for jumping on.
Yeah, no problem. Good to be on. Thanks for the invite. I appreciate it. It's a shame it couldn't be in happier circumstances, but it is what it is.
Yeah, I know, man. It's terrible times, eh? But yeah, thanks, buddy, for jumping on. And Robbie, how are you, man?
Yeah, not too bad, thanks, Dan. Albeit yesterday's horrific result. Pleasure to be on. Good to see everyone else in the chat and on the panel. And looking forward to the show tonight.
Great, man. Thank you for jumping on. And Niko, you're back as well. How are you?
I'm good. I'm not that invested in Tottenham, to be honest, on an emotional level. I just, it's just a circus. You know, it's a comedy and a tragedy. So it's going to be better next season anyway. I can just see it now burning out. So, yeah, let's get into it.
Yeah, and it's good you're coming on tonight so you can fill us in a bit more information about our opponents next week because you live in Norway. So, it'll be interesting to hear what you got to say about that.
Close to the city of Bodo. It's pronounced Bodo. Bodo Glimt.
I pronounced it wrong. People are just calling it Bodo Glimt.
Bodo Glimt. Okay.
No, there you go. You learned something already. Cheers, buddy. Guys, if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe to myself, Nige, Robbie. If you haven't already, that would be much appreciated. Thank you so much. Oh, we've got one more guest coming on. Just welcoming in. Matt, how you doing? Or Matthew, is that what you prefer to be called?
I've been called a lot worse, so I'll leave you to decide. Welcome for the thank you for the invite and hello to all the guests and looking forward to it.
Evening to you, Matt. Thank you for jumping on. Hope you're good, man. Hope you're good.
Yeah, really good.
Well, guys, should we say a few hellos to people in the chat? Let's have a look and see who's here tonight. Here we go. Let's have a look. Evening, George. Hope you're good. Hello, Luke. How are you? Thank you for joining us. Big up, Mark. Hope you're good, buddy. A few hellos. Who else is here? Big up, Rich. How are you doing, Rich? Thank you for joining us tonight. Nige, I didn't even say hello to you, mate. Bloody missed you.
That's right, mate. Bloody rude, isn't
sorry,
it?
buddy, mate. How rude am I? How are you, mate?
No, I'm okay, mate. I'm okay, thanks. And I was going to say, Niko, none of us are invested in Tottenham anymore, so it's fine. It's absolutely fine. But yeah, big up panel, big up chat. How are you, Dan? You good, mate?
Yeah, mate. Sorry about that, man. Completely skipped you.
It's all right, mate.
Who else is here tonight? Big up CM. Evening to you. Hope you're good. Here we go again. Big up Meta Football TV. Hope you're doing well, man. Thank you for joining us tonight. Barbaric, evening to you. Thank you. Smash those likes and subs. George says 2-0 down after 16 minutes. We needed an outstanding comeback. And one more. Brian, evening to you, Brian. Hope you're well.
Right.
How you been, man? Thank you for joining us tonight. So, right, let's get into it. So tonight, guys, we're not going to be sugarcoating anything. Tottenham on 18 league defeats and counting. The worst season in recent memory. The kind of collapse that would see most managers be sacked. But somehow Ange is still clinging in the job. Why? Because we're still in the Europa League. But let's be honest, Ange is breaking all the wrong records. We're conceding goals for fun. There's not enough accountability from Ange, I feel. He continues to state we've played well, we're outstanding after games. Some fans are still making excuses, blaming the players are not good enough, the injuries, Daniel Levy, etc. Enough is enough, to be honest, guys. Enough is enough. So look, let's get into it tonight. Let's get into it. we're going to be talking about that Nottingham Forest game, be looking ahead to Liverpool at the weekend, and also talking about the Europa League. So let's get into it. Let's have a cracking show, guys. Let's go. So let's start off with Chris. I've got a question for you, Chris. You saw the game, obviously, yeah? Did you go?
I didn't go. I took my stepmom on the tour of Emmerdale studio yesterday, so I didn't get back in time. So that was a thriller. I've never even watched an episode of Emmerdale, but there you go.
That's very nice of you, mate.
Well, kind of guy I am.
Mate, you didn't miss much, mate. Same old. But I'm sure you caught up with the highlights, right?
Yeah. No, I saw the game. I just couldn't get down.
Okay. So you were back for the match. Fair enough. So Ange said we were outstanding against Forest. Well, I mean, it's worrying when a manager keeps saying we played well, and when we clearly not. The same mistakes. We don't seem to be learning under Ange. What did you make of that performance, Chris?
Look, I suppose in a way we did play mildly better than we have been in the league, but our bar is so low that I feel like he's just trying to gaslight us now by saying that we're outstanding. I feel like he kind of has to say that because he made a big deal of the injuries, right? And he said we'll be outstanding when we get our players back. So now he's sort of trying to say, look, I've delivered on it. We are outstanding, but it doesn't really matter if you give a team a 3-goal start, which is basically what we did, right? We were super lucky that one was just offside. If you start a game like that, almost doesn't matter what you do in the rest of the game. But the nature of a lot of fans, I don't think it's just our fans, but they're obsessed by shots and possession and stuff. But if you're going to give effectively a defensive side a 2-goal start, obviously you're going to dominate possession. You're going to have way more shots. You're going to have way more territory. So that is no measure for me that we're any good. I mean, we're clearly not. Yeah, I mean, we created a few chances, but we just lack quality, don't we? I mean, we're so poor. And frankly, even if we were brilliant, which I don't think we were, but even if we were brilliant for the last 70 minutes, when you start a game like that, it's irrelevant, isn't it, really? Most well-organised teams like Forest are going to be able to defend a 2-goal lead in the Premier League. And that's what Forest do, right? They just set up, snatch a goal, and then go, come on, see if you can break us down. And basically we couldn't. So same old stuff, really. But the actual detachment of reality from Ange in his interviews now, I've got so little time for him, honestly. I just don't like the guy. Like, I hate the football, but I just don't like the guy. Like, he's just arrogant, rude. He's got to the point now. It reminds me of Eric Ten Hag in his last sort of days. It was like how brilliant they were playing every week when clearly they weren't. And that's kind of where we are now. I only hope that he's doing that because he knows that it's over. That's all I can cling on to, really, because God knows I can't stand another season of this guy.
Meta Football TV said in the chat, accountability doesn't need to be shown externally, though. What do you think, Chris?
I mean, to an extent, he shows accountability in the sense that a lot of the interviews, it's always been, we've got to be better, that's on me. But it's just a rinse and repeat interview, isn't it? You could just replay any of his interviews from about the last 6 months. All right, it's on you, Ange. Well, actually do something about it and actually change something and show that we're improving. But we're not. We're just going down and down. And so who knows what he says behind closed doors. But accountability at this stage, I think, is an irrelevance, isn't it? Like, accountability when things start to go wrong and you say, right, I will fix it. Fine. We're way past that. We're stinking the place out. We're setting new records every week. I don't care whether he thinks he's accountable or not. It's gone past that. He just needs to go. I read someone said the best thing he can do, and I sort of subscribe to this. The best thing he could do is just come out and say, right, I'm leaving at the end of the season. And that would allow people like me, and I imagine a lot of us who just don't want to get rid of the guy, can actually get behind him for the rest of the season then and go, yeah, let's go and win the Europa League. And then thank God we don't have to put up with you for next season. But whilst we're still at the prospect of him potentially being here, I just can't abide the thought. I don't care whether he takes accountability. As far as I'm concerned, he is accountable and he needs to go.
Anybody else want to say anything about the accountability?
I just wanted to say that who is this guy? I mean, how does he think as a human being? I mean, you lose match after match after match, and then you're stupid enough to not change anything. Like, have some pride. I mean, have some fucking pride. Sorry if I swore, but close the spaces, be compact, be aggressive, shout to the players, hold them accountable, be a leader, show some passion. I mean, what is this? Like week after week after week, like I don't know. Is he a narcissist? Not like the players who criticizes him, just like they're put in the cold, so they actually just talk to each other in the WhatsApp groups and like don't step over it. Just do what he says. Like, they have to have some secret society and just play along with the media and everything. They don't play for this manager, and he doesn't learn. He's not adaptable. Play a low block yesterday and do the same. Just match the team you're playing against when you're in deep trouble. Like, who is this guy? Yeah, that's it for now. Yeah.
Fair enough, Niko. Anybody else want to say anything about accountability? Well, before I've got a question for Matt.
I agree with both of the lads and what they both just said there. I think he comes across a lot now like he's got this deeper understanding of football, and if you've won things at the top level, it's still arrogant to be patronising towards fans. But fair enough. But you've been successful in Scotland and Japan, mate. It's hardly like top level football management. I just don't like this patronising nature towards fans constantly. Like both of you lads just said, it's constantly it's on me, it's on me, it's on me. It's like you're watching us fall apart and you're not doing anything about it. It's like he's Rocky in Rocky 4, and we're Apollo Creed, and Ivan Drago is every single team. They're just battering us week in, week out, and we're not throwing in the towel. And I don't understand it. It's just like, I just think he's so patronising towards fans, and he constantly says it's on me, it's on me. But then to say we were outstanding, I mean, I need to get his dealer's number because I need to take some of what he must have been on. I don't understand how he says that was outstanding. Is he watching? Maybe I need new glasses or something. But I watched us get completely outclassed. I watched Forest score 2 goals early, sit in, defend comfortably, and us cause barely any problems for him. I just think he's got to go. If he wins the Europa League, fair play. He always wins things in the second season. Congratulations. Little tickle to his ego, and us as fans can celebrate it. But for me, it's been pathetic this season. 18 losses ain't good enough.
He's not very tactful, is he? Like, it's just not good enough, is it? Another defeat, and it's I don't know why he's saying that. It just doesn't help him, does it? It doesn't help himself. Now, Matt, we all know how Forest play, right? Yeah, we've seen them this season, right? How do you think Ange should approach that match last night?
Yeah, look, I think everybody on this panel, everybody in the chat, every neutral fan would know how Nuno, he's been in the Premier League now with Wolves, obviously a short spell at Tottenham, at Nottingham Forest. He plays a certain way. Equally, every person knows how Tottenham play. So if you had to, on a piece of paper, write down how that game was going to pan out, it's pretty close to what happened, to be honest with you. They would score early. We would huff and puff. I didn't expect us to have so much of the ball. I thought we would have more possession, but I was surprised. We looked like we had a little bit of penetration with Odeberg on the one side. I didn't expect us to be that penetrative on the one side with Odeberg, but he played exactly into Nuno's hands. And you could bring Conte back, you could bring Jose back, you could bring Sam Allardyce back, you could bring Neil Warnock back, you could bring Mark Hughes back, you could bring Steve Bruce. Any of those low block defensive managers would have rubbed their hands when they saw the fixture of Tottenham Hotspur. And to give you another analogy about a boxer, we're a boxer that can't punch, and we don't have a chin. So we look flashy. We have a couple of combinations in the round, but the moment we get a decent punch, we hit the deck. The moment we show or face any adversity, we're on the canvas. And at the end of the fight, the boxer says, "I think I've done all right. I think I did all right." Yeah, but you got knocked down 4 times. Yeah, but I thought I was in the fight. We cannot defend. It's a fundamental part of professional football. When that ball comes into your box, defend. And we look at 6s and 7s in that first 20 minutes. To be honest with you, the offside was, even though it was offside, I looked at Van der Ven and he had no idea where Wood was. And that's worrying. You've got a 6'4" centre forward and you have no idea where he is in the box. If you go back to the other end, anytime Richarlison looked like he was going to make a move, the 2 Nottingham Forest defenders body checked him, nudged him, made him know that he was having a free run to attack the ball. Our 2 centre halves, we gave them the freedom of London. So, yeah, it didn't surprise me, the result. I'm probably older than most of the people on this show tonight, so I've been following Spurs since 1980. So it doesn't surprise me, sadly. And whether he wins the Europa League or not, I think it will be a mutual handshake at the end of the season, and he'll go on to pastures new. I think that's it. Wouldn't surprise me if that's already been verbally agreed. I think he knows 6-7 games he's out the door.
Oh, so you think he already knows he's gone?
I think so. I think he knows. Look, I've watched a lot of Ange's interviews. I've watched a lot of them, even last season. And it's telling, because he says, Spurs have brought me in here to do a certain job. He says, don't ask me to play defensive football. Don't ask me to play low block. I don't know how to do it. He's go back to last season in his interviews. He said, I don't, this is all I know. So nothing is going to change while he's in charge. He doesn't know how to.
But what makes Levy trust this guy in Europe? Based on what? How does he get to manage the rest of the matches in Europe? Why? What's he done? Like, I don't get it. Is it just because he didn't criticize Levy publicly? Is it that simple, that he didn't step on Levy's toes? Because he doesn't deserve to play the rest of these matches. He doesn't. I don't get it.
Look, I think seasons of old, he would have been out the door by now. But I think the additional revenue that Tottenham generates has bought him a bit of breathing space. I think Levy's reputation in the managerial world is at an all-time low. I think Conte set the place on fire with his exit interview. So I think it's a little bit of a poison chalice as well. I don't think there'll be a queue of managers. When I say queue of managers, I mean top 10 managers knocking down the door to join Tottenham.
Yeah, but they might have actually agreement with another manager the next season. Like they might actually have contacted a manager for next season, and then they know we're not getting relegated, and so they said just wait it out basically, and gives him the rest of the season, maybe. Just speculating.
I think though, if I don't subscribe to if he's going to go, give him the rest of the season, because I genuinely think it's like if you just take any business environment, right, where someone is going to leave because of poor performance, you don't go, well, we'll do it in 3 months' time. Your poor performance, you need to go. Yeah. And I personally, I think the impact he's having on us as a club and the players and all of that kind of stuff, we would be better just cutting ties right now. There's no hard evidence for it because the players do keep coming out going, oh, yeah, we like the manager, which I kind of feel is just media obligations, right? But I suspect that when he goes, a lot of those players, the morale will be increased, and I think the performance will just be better just because he's left.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't keep him on personally at all, but
let's go to let's have a Niko. I'll ask you a question about yesterday. And I know how you're feeling, mate. You know, you just don't understand. Ange is still here, and you know you're baffled. You're completely baffled by it. But look, let's was there anything positive about the game yesterday? Was there anything? Did you see? Maybe it was a player's performance, certain players. Was there anything that you saw yesterday that you know? Because, you know, we are obviously very critical of manager. We're very critical of the results. But, you know, we kind of have to look at everything. Was there anything player-wise yesterday that you thought, okay, you know, that was a good performance?
Well, there are aspects of the matches we do good stuff, but it's not consistent. And it's always prone to doing something stupid, like at any given moment. And I just don't see the togetherness, the fight, like and the defensive lapses. They're just terrible all over. And I don't know, maybe the players also think it's comfortable to play under him, like because of course they won't criticize him in public, but I don't know. It's just so hard to know these days. But we got a performance in Frankfurt. Why don't we replicate that with yesterday's match? I don't get it. Why can't they try to be focused and build on that? It's so hard for a fan to understand this club because everything is so hidden. Like nobody actually speaks out. Or of course there are certain elements in every match where we do good stuff, but I don't see the organization, togetherness, or fight. It's just passing the bucket, and it's all like a charade. Like they don't have they don't play with the real emotions. It's like it's calculated, or I don't know. Just
so nothing, Niko. Basically, nothing.
Yeah, exactly. It's just like they're doing what's the English term? They're going through the motions. That's
I think yesterday's made even more frustrating though, because on Thursday, as much as I don't like this manager, he got it bang on in my opinion. He switched to a back five at the end, tactically adapted, and dropped the line back a bit, defended for our lives. It was such a professional and good away performance, and everything I've been asking for him. But then just yesterday resorts back to the same old rubbish, the high line and the stupid high pressing. It just plays right into Forest's hands. You know they're a team that all season long have counter-attacked top sides in the Premier League. I know we're not one of them, but they counter-attack the traditional big six. They put Alanga and Hudson-Odoi out wide, Chris Wood in the middle, smashed in crosses to him. Why on earth? Why would you have the wing-backs come inside in a game like that? Why would you still play the high line? What would have shocked them is if we dropped it back a little bit. And then I don't think they would have known what to do if we dropped back a little bit. If we tried to counter-attack them, I think it would have thrown them a bit. But it's just so predictable what we're going to do. And to do that straight after what was such a good performance, when this manager, who I've been so critical of, actually got it bang on, it just makes it even more annoying. It's like, finally you think there's a little flicker of hope there, maybe a light at the end of the tunnel, we may get success under this guy. And then he goes and does that yesterday again and says, "You're fantastic," or whatever he said, excellent, something like that. Yeah. It's just like, he's constantly digging himself his own grave.
But two things.
How many times has he done that? He does that all the time, doesn't he? He did it against City. The game, we thought, okay, maybe he's changing. The game after, he goes back to normal. He did it against Villa at home. We thought, okay, maybe he's tactically, he's working it out. Next game, does exactly the same. And he did it Thursday, you know, a good, solid performance, changed tactically. We all think, okay, maybe he might change a little bit for Monday night, and he goes back to type.
But two things there, like Frankfurt obviously isn't as good as I think Forest probably is a better team. The league there in Germany, you have Bayern and Leverkusen, which are the best teams by far. So there's a huge drop-off after that. I think that is part of the reason why we actually had the match under control in Germany. And secondly, when you face them away, and the players know we're just a few matches away from a final, so they play for themselves. They want to play for the trophy. I don't know if it was Ange. Like, probably the players, they now see the incentive of a final, so they step up, because if they can get a trophy, of course they will just do it for themselves. So I'm not sure it's Ange. I think he's actually on his own, and he's just doing the press conferences and everything, and it's, I feel there's like this play there, and the divided theater, and yeah, that's just maybe I'm paranoid, but yeah, I feel it's just a disconnect, you know.
Going back to what Robbie said, like, you know, when we played Nottingham Forest back, it was just after Christmas, I feel it was Boxing Day. It was so predictable what was going to happen. So what did Ange learn about this time yesterday? It just confused me. I don't quite understand it. You know, we should have just kind of sat back a bit, you know, played a bit of cat and mouse with Nottingham Forest, see what they actually got. You know, give them a bit of a possession and see if we could catch them out. But the game went the way it went, and it was just so predictable, that defeat, wasn't it? Yes, I get it. Nottingham Forest, they're motivated. Yeah, they wanted to get back in the top 5. Yeah, they are more motivated than us right now. But they caught us cold. You know, they started fast. They got 2 quick goals. And if you analyse both of the goals, nobody was coming out to block the shot from Anderson. And then it was Alanga on the left. Porro didn't get to him quick enough. And then the centre-backs, whoever was marking Wood, lost him. Bang, and it's 2-0. And I was thinking, that's just a nightmare, right? Against Nottingham Forest, who are good defensively. It's one of the worst teams you want to go behind in. And that was after 16 minutes. But there was still time in that game to get back into it. And, you know, we did have 2 really good chances. And on another day, we could have scored. I mean, Tell, he just thrashed at that shot, didn't he? When Williams kind of headed it into the ground. And then there was a great cross from Wilson, and Richie and Sarr got in the way of each other. Let's go to Nige. Nige, was there anything, because I know you like to be positive, and I know it's really difficult to be positive. Was there anything you liked about that performance at all? Any players' performances?
Not really. I think Odegaard impressed a little bit. I think he tired in the second half, but I think first half he did well. That's about it for me. I think everyone else was under par. Tell kind of looked like he might do stuff, but never really quite did anything. Bentancur, for me, massive disappointment again. And the 2 centre-halves, we've been told all season when they're out, don't worry, when Van der Ven and Romero back, we'll be fine. And they just keep losing their men. How many times we say it? You know, neither of them ever mark a player. So, yeah, really disappointing. The only player I think could come out of any credit for me was Odegaard in the first half.
Yeah, I think he did all right. He was trying to take on his man. He was putting in crosses. Just for Richarlison, he's not clinical, is he? He's not a striker who's going to be clutch. He needs quite a few chances to get a goal.
Such a poor signing by another one. Very poor signing.
At least he's in the box, where Solanke wouldn't even be that.
It was a nice goal, though. The headed goal was a good goal. Yeah.
We had some really good chances, and we just weren't clinical enough. So you look at it, we weren't defensively strong, and we weren't clinical, and it just wasn't our day, was it? It really wasn't. Now, I've got a question for the panel. Anybody can answer this. Let me find it for you guys. It looks like this, right? In this Premier League, when we play certain teams. Yeah, I'm not saying all of them. A lot of teams figure out how to play Spurs. So why hasn't Ange figured out how to play them back?
It's so strange. He's not adapting. Maybe it's just too old. And when you have the career he's had with the success, you just double down. You know, that's what made you go this far, and he just can't manage to adapt. Like, he's too old, just too stubborn, and maybe it's that simple.
I just think he really believes in his way. That's right. He really believes in the way he plays, and he will not change.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not even sure he looks at other teams and the way they play. It's very much like we play this way, and we will win playing my way, and I don't care how other teams play.
Yeah, and you can understand it. Think about it, guys. If it was one of us who actually had the job, like in a Premier League, like it's so hard to get this kind of a job. It's so few human beings get this chance. So you have done a lot of good stuff in your career just by reaching that far. So it is probably harder than we think to be open and to adapt and to take on board stuff, because you get so a victim of your own success. It's probably hard. So that's why I think it's even more impressive with managers like Mourinho, that actually was very game to game, always this trying to adapt to the opponent, yet having sort of like he's a genius, this guy. I don't care about all the downfall. Like if you see his career and his brains and all this X factor, it's hard because the ego is so high when you reach that level, I think. Yeah.
I completely agree with you both, though. I just think with Ange, he just can't accept that his style that served him so well for his career does not work at the top level. And I think there's that persistence of it will work, no, it will work. And it's like, it's just not going to. It served him so well in leagues that quality-wise are just so far below the Premier League. And in any of the top 5 leagues, I don't see him succeeding. He could go to a championship club next season, the best in the championship, and I think it'd be similar to what Company was at Burnley and the rest was at Leicester. I think he could go to maybe a club in, I don't know, I'm struggling to think of any leagues, but a league outside of, let's say, the top 20, and I think he could be really, really successful. But unless he's given the best players in the league that is outside of the top 5, top 10, maybe even top 20, he really struggles. This style of play does not work when he doesn't have the best team, and it does not work in these leagues where teams figure us out. You know, we had those 10 games at the beginning of last season when things were so good. As soon as there was a blueprint figured out on how to beat us and teams have started using it, we don't have a plan B. We do not have a plan B. We don't know how to get results apart from playing this exact same way, exactly, the same passes, the exact same goals week after week. I just don't think he can hold his hands up and accept my way's not working at the top level. Let's change things around.
I think it's an ego thing with him where I just get the impression that he wanted to be the next Pep, where someone's playing a system that no one's really seen before, and everybody else in football starts to copy it because you go, oh my God, this is amazing. I feel like that's what he wanted, right? He wanted that sort of legacy and to people to view him like that. But let's be honest, no one's copying this system, are they? For a very good reason. But his ego won't let him change. It can't be that he doesn't recognize that this is not working, because it's clear, right? It's really, really obvious that it's not working. But I just genuinely think he's like going to die on this hill no matter what.
And that's exactly.
Like that. It does. It looks like that. And I had a question, Chris, and you kind of beat me to it, but it's fine. We can talk about it now. You know, is Ange's system more about his ego than club success? It's a question to ask, isn't it? Matt,
maybe
what do you think?
No, sorry,
Niko. Matt, what do you think?
No, just I think maybe it's actually the case of he's afraid of being viewed as weak. Like if he changes, and then he doubles down on it. Like that's a misconception, I think. If you're successful, people may see it as like you're going back on what you said, and he wants to be strong. And I remember this. I read an article about this is maybe a pseudo science, or he had a distant relationship with his father. Was something about this was in a podcast or something. Like he's not close to the players, and you can see it so obviously. He's not close with the players. You can see them not really, being. They're trying to do this, this polite stuff, but it's not like again, take Mourinho or the great coaches. Like the respect is there regardless, and they go and hug the manager and euphoric and everything. That's not Ange. You don't see that at all. He's alone. He's out there alone as a manager. You don't see the connection with the players, and I think it transpires to the pitch, basically.
I slightly disagree with you there, mate. I think the problem with Ange is more the tactical stuff. I do think he has got that connection with the players, because you see a lot of players coming out. And yeah, it might be mutual obligation, but not every club does it. We're seeing Vardy come out, talk about Leicester. Man United players have done it. The players constantly come out saying, we want Ange to stay. Romero said countless times, if Ange goes, then I'll go. And he's constantly praised for his speeches and stuff that he does. So I do think, as a motivator, he's probably really good. I do think he probably has got a connection with the players because of that. The problem is, he'll do that motivational speech. I'm sure a lot of you guys have seen the video on YouTube of, I think it was with Australia, where he was talking about the special person in your life and all of that. The problem is, when that motivational speech finishes, boss, what are we going to do different to last week when we lost 4-0? And that's where I think he lets himself down. I think he's got that connection with the players. I think the players do have that connection with him, but I just don't think his tactical work is anywhere near good enough.
I think that kind of speech works when you're winning, but as soon as you start losing every week, those kind of speeches
I agree,
kind of go in one ear and out the other.
But what about a player like Romero? He obviously is a winner. You see the guy, his stature, aggression, and everything. At some point, he would have to confront Ange about this system, because it's so open and he's exposed. Both the centre backs are, and he sees that Ange doesn't change. He doesn't actually go adapt or anything. They have to lose respect for this guy, because we're losing match after match after match. And what they say in public, I don't care. I don't believe anything about what is in these interviews, and it's just a show, because they don't want to be. Don't want to criticize in the media, because that will blow back on them. Behind curtains, I just can't imagine that they respect this guy or play for him. Doesn't add up for me.
I want to bring in Matt here. What do you think, Matt, on this?
Yeah, look, I think Ange, I've read his book, and his story it's a good story. This guy that kind of comes from Greece at age of 4, can't speak the language in Australia. He came from real, rags to riches, was ridiculed with his surname and so on and so on. And to make it in professional football in Australia, gets a bad injury at 26, has to retire, ends up working in a bank and doing some part-time coaching with the workers in the bank at first, and kind of gets his confidence to get into kind of coaching from there. So his story is a real rags to riches. And I think, I can't remember the gentleman that was mentioning earlier, but it's like he's come over from Australia as this export, and he's kind of so obsessed with succeeding, playing the beautiful game, that the mere hint of, do you want to do a low block, or you're playing Anfield away, do you want to just compact them in? The mere hint of that suggestion is a how dare you, because he's in his mind, he's like, I have to succeed. I have to succeed playing this way. And any deviation from that is blasphemy. So he's got this inaccurate view of how football should be played in the most expensive and the hardest league in the world. And he's come to the Premier League at 58 with 15, 20 years of success, relative to Japan and obviously Australia, and then Scotland. So in his mind, his signature dish that he makes, every time he served it, the audience have loved it. Now, all of a sudden, he's served this dish in England, and people are going, well, what else have you got? It's great for a bit, but what what's the dessert? What else? It tastes
It's a
all
really
right,
good analogy.
do you know what else can you do? And he's like, well, that's it. That's I've won on every MasterChef I've been on. Yeah, but you're in the Champions of Champions now. You need a second dish. So
have you seen that MasterChef meme of Ange where he's
No, I
making a
haven't.
chicken pie, and you just search for it online. There's a little video literally of Ange in MasterChef where there's like, you're supposed to make a chicken pie, and he just goes, "I've just done a sponge cake, mate." And he's like, "You do a sponge cake every time." And he's like, "I know, but it's a good sponge cake." So honestly, go and have a look at it. It's like, oh, I can't believe you haven't seen it, because exactly what you were saying, that's exactly what that video is, man. Go and have a look.
And that's it. So I think the mere mention with the press at the end of a game, and you can see his eyebrows and his forehead gets all crinkled, and it's like, how dare you question my methods? And it's like, yeah, but we've lost 16, 17, 18 games in the Premier League, so he knows whatever he's serving, we aren't eating anymore. So I think it's a part of the ways in the summer. If he comes up with the Europa League, he'll be a one-day Ramos. Thanks for the memories. But who remembers one-day Ramos? Who knows where one-day Ramos is now? But he won us the League Cup. And I think Postecoglou will be like that. In 8 years, 10 years' time, it'll be remember Ange.
There's a question, well, not a question, but an observation in the chat. Let me bring it up now. Meta Football TV. His style doesn't work because he doesn't have the players. Then it's not a managerial issue. Guys?
No, don't agree with this. You always have to use the squad you have, and you have to adapt to that. No manager.
You play the
yeah, because it's always about finding solutions with the squad you have. And he knew before he came to Tottenham, like every manager, you don't get the first pick of players. You have to coach them. You have to be adaptable, like Pochettino was. So I don't agree with this statement.
Anyone else?
Yeah,
I
just think it's just a bit. Yeah, I mean, any manager in any job, you can't just say, I know my whole team's failing, but it's not my fault because I'm getting them to do something completely different to what they're capable of. It's just so poor. You can't say that's not a managerial issue. And a lot of people who defend him say, like, his style works if he has the best players. Well, probably every manager can say that, right? Give me the best players, then probably my style will work as well. It's just so poor. It's like you can't be there for 2 years, it not work, and then just keep saying, well, it's not on me, like it's the players. Like,
I think it's a bit of a cop out. I really think it's a bit of a cop out. I think the reason we're not first, second, third, fourth, fifth, maybe even sixth is because of the ownership. I don't think we have the players to be in those positions, and that's down to the bad recruitment. That's down to the people who have been involved, Lange, Munn, even partly Ange, but the owners. But having said that, do we have a squad good enough to be 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th? Yeah,
we do.
Are the teams above us, do they have a better squad? Do Brentford have better players than us on paper? No. Do Brighton have better players than us on paper? No. Crystal Palace? No. But these teams, in my opinion, are above us because their managers play the cards that they're dealt. Okay, we've got these players. How can we play to their strengths? How can we get the most out of them? This player likes being out wide. Let's keep him out there. This player likes coming inside. Let's bring him in there. That's what, to me, makes a good manager, someone who can adapt to get the best out of what they've got. Whereas this guy needs a specific player in a specific position every single time. If he doesn't have everything his exact way, it doesn't work. That's why, look at a player like Destiny Udogie. He thrived out wide as a wing-back at Udinese. Play to his strengths. Keep him out wide game after game. Have him spamming in crosses. Don't invert him. Play to your players' strengths. Get the best out of them by playing to their strengths. And we'd be higher in the league table. We're not winning trophies right now. I mean, we might this season, but we're not at the top of the league. That's down to the owners. But the reason we're not at least in the top 10, that's down to mismanagement from Ange, because we've got a better squad than a lot of the teams above us, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, definitely. We can't just blame that. You're right. I can't remember who said it, but I think, Chris, you said it. No manager's going to get every player they want. And so what do you do then? I do think we have some good players. I think we have some good young players. I think with a right coach, manager, setting them up in the right formation, structure, I think we should be doing a hell of a lot better. And that's why it's just been such a waste of a league season, isn't it? I mean, it's unacceptable. 18 defeats. You can't defend it. No, you just can't. It's not good enough. It's a results business. You're not getting the results. Then, unfortunately, time's up. And I think he'll be gone come the summer. There was a question following on with both from that I want to bring up, which Ange in his press conference last week. Apologies if I haven't said it exactly how he said it, but I think you'll get the idea. Let me bring it up now. Here we go. So here we go. Let's have a go at this one, everyone. So Ange discussed at his press conference the other day that there's no need for Spurs to change their recruitment strategy. Is he trolling us?
He's a yes man. Simple as that.
Yes, man. Yeah.
Because the one we've been using has been working brilliantly, hasn't it, Ange? The recruitment strategy that we've got is winning us all kinds of trophies. That's why we don't need to change it. I don't get it. I really don't get it. How can you not think that you need to change it?
Yeah.
Does anyone understand it? And is this going back to what we said a little while ago, that Ange knows he's on his way out, so he's just
smart because his position doesn't dictate him to be critical of Levy, and it just says what Levy doesn't react to and just plays along. I think he's just street smart when it comes to the press, but shouldn't matter. He should have had a sack months ago. Like,
I don't think he's street smart with the press at all. He's talked way too much. He gives them way too much ammo all the time. He needs to shut up.
I get it, but I don't want to. He just keeps.
I don't think he cares.
Yeah,
don't think he cares. I think he knows he's going. He probably hasn't been told, but I think he probably knows his football's not working. I don't think he cares anymore, to be honest.
Yeah, and if he wins the Europa League, then that's a great achievement, regardless of no other manager has won anything for us. So,
what I will say is he contradicts himself, and he's not the first manager, and he won't be the last manager. But I think because he makes so many sweeping statements, they come back and bite him. So I'm not going to buy leaders. I'm going to bring them through. There's two ways you can buy leaders. You can buy them or you can bring them through. Then when the results start to go south, he says, well, we're a bit short in that department. So he kind of tries to cover himself after the horse has bolted. There's question marks for me. Reguilon, his alienation of Reguilon when we needed support for Udogie. Whether you rate Reguilon or not, whether you rate him or not, he's a left-sided left back when Udogie, don't forget, missed the last 2 months of last season with an operation on his quad. So all the physio department said 3 to 4 month layoff. Udogie played no part of pre-season. The last game before the season starts, Udogie plays. He then gets fast-tracked into the first game, and guess what? We're playing 2 games a week. Udogie's playing on a Thursday, he's playing on a Sunday, he's playing on a Thursday with no pre-season. He's alienated Reguilon, who, in my opinion, is an adequate option. I'm not saying he's better than Udogie. I'm not saying he's the best left back in the Premier League. But talking about playing with the cards you've got, surely he's got to look at that roster and go, I've not got a left-sided replacement. He then alienates Jed Spence for the first 3 or 4 months of the season. Can't get in any matchday squad. Doesn't name him in the Europa League squad. So Udogie's playing Thursday, Sunday. Guess what? Makes mistakes, breaks down. By some miracle, Jed Spence scores a late equaliser against Coventry. We go through. you know, he's made mistake after mistake after mistake with that squad. I don't think if he had used that squad, I think if he'd have used that squad better at the start of the season, we would not be in this position. He alienated for me the wrong players at the wrong time, and he's now had to go back to certain players with a cap in hand, like Jed Spence. It's too late. And he's flogged players when he didn't need to flog them. He could have been a bit clever in how he rotated that squad, but he played Kulusevski to death. He played Adodi to death. He played Van der Ven to death, and he did not need to. So I think when this season finishes and he's probably out of a job, I'm hoping the penny will drop, but it probably won't.
He did kind of admit that though, Matt, didn't he? A little while ago, that he didn't start the season well in regards to how he was rotating players. He actually did say that. You know, I know he hasn't said a lot, taken a lot of accountability, but that he did. He did say that he should have approached them beginning games differently.
Of course. I mean, Timo Werner, I mean, we've got £165,000 a week that we're playing. He can't make the match day squad. I mean, it's remarkable.
But then we can talk about Tell as well, like Mikey Moore. What's happened? We've not seen Mikey Moore. Why sign Tell when he had Mikey Moore there? And he's just completely, we've not seen him, have we? And then this is about bringing... Yeah.
It's meant to be a youth project as well. Where's Mikey Moore? Where's, Lancashire? Why are these players not being given opportunities? Instead, we're playing people like Richarlison. We know what we're going to get from Richarlison. We know what we're going to get from Werner. They're not good enough. Whereas these players could do with the development. I just think, adding on to what Matt said, and I'll pass it back to you, Dan, but adding on to what Matt said, the mismanagement of the squad is so frustrating, and people constantly use it as an excuse for him. People say, he's got loads of injuries. Well, he kept persisting with the same style when players were dropping like flies. Most teams, when they pick up a couple of injuries, think, how can we prevent more of them? What can we change around to make sure more players don't get injured? He did nothing. Yeah. He rushed back Van der Ven and Romero for that Chelsea game when they weren't ready. And then for months, people said, we haven't got Romero and Van der Ven as an excuse for Ange when he's the reason we didn't have them fit. I just think Jed Spence as well. We've said Jed Spence has been fantastic. Credit to Ange. Ange wanted him gone last summer. Yeah. Ange played Archie Gray at right back first before, Porro came back. Porro got injured. Then he put Gray at right back. Then he brought him for a few minutes at the end of the game he thought he was going out of, and Spence in those few minutes somehow scored a goal and managed to get himself in that team. And everyone goes, well done, Ange. He's developed Spence brilliantly. No, he hasn't. No, he hasn't developed him brilliantly. Spence was bottom of this list. He wanted him out of the football club. I just think he's managed this squad atrociously. If he wins the Europa League, fair play. Credit where it's due. He's won a trophy. Probably our most successful achievement since 1991. Fair play. But I do not want to see his face again at a press conference next season, because
and also if you have a system that's balanced, then you actually protect the squad from injuries, because you don't have the wide open spaces we have all over the pitch. We have no control, and if you have a balanced system and tactical solidity, then you actually protect and conserve energy in the team, because you're organized, and he doesn't care about that. So the center backs are so exposed, and the wing backs are constantly out of position. It's just it's also part of the injury, all the injuries, because the system is so open and so imbalanced. I think it's very important to think about system tactics in relation to injuries as well. Yeah.
Just going back to this question. Great points, guys. Great points. I just you can't keep Ange here. You need a manager coming in the summer who's going to challenge the board and say, look, we need some experienced players in the team, winners, leaders, and Ange clearly doesn't sound like he's going to do that, does it? So
he's changing the culture of the club, the DNA. Give him time.
It's not, is it? Because it's clear to everybody that what we needed in the summer. All we signed was youngsters and Solanke, and even Solanke's questionable now. People are questioning him. I mean, it's whoever comes in has got to have a bit of bottle in them, to whatever coach and manager comes in, he's got to have a bit about him to be able to speak up to Levy in the recruitment team and say, look, yes, we can keep buying young players, but what we need right now is some leaders' experience into this side. And if you think about it, you'd sign 2 or 3 those type of players. Don't have to be world class, just good players, experienced pros. Come in, shake this team up, get them going next season. Guys, what do you think?
I just don't think that's going to happen, Dan, in terms of a manager. Like, because who's doing the appointing?
Redknapp's done it before in the past, Chris.
Yeah, and so's Conte, right? Call the board out. But do you think Levy, on the back of that Conte experience, is going to appoint a similar character? The conversation's going to go, this is what it is at Tottenham. Do you want to accept it or not? And if you've got someone like Ange who's having a big step up, I think one of the guys said when we were backstage beforehand, he was like won the lottery to get the Spurs job. So someone like that will come to Tottenham, right? Because they're going to get paid more than they ever have done before, but they're going to play ball, which is what I think Ange has done. He doesn't, that's what Levy wants, right? He wants a yes man, really. I just can't see. I mean, it's a different conversation about who would we get, but I just can't see it being anyone who's really going to stick up.
I'm right though, Chris, aren't I? You know, this is what we need, right? We need a manager to.
I agree. I hate the way, for me, that the fans now demonise Conte, because I don't personally feel Conte, A, he said the truth, and B, I don't really feel he disrespected the fans. In fact, quite the opposite. You listen to that infamous press conference after the Southampton game. He's the only one who says the fans pay the money and the fans deserve better than you. So I think he spoke up for us. But now our fan base, which is another discussion entirely, like demonise Conte. And that's the kind of guy we need ultimately. But I mean, we're skating around the topic there, really, aren't we? What we're saying is as we all know, Levy is the biggest problem. As much as I hate Ange, what are we ever going to achieve with Levy and Enoch in charge?
And that's why the protests are so important, right? That's why we have to keep turning up at the protests. More numbers get involved. Obviously, we saw the attendance yesterday. Was it 59? You know, people had their tickets on the exchange. People are not interested in going. And that's going to drop more for the rest of the season now, because what are fans going to watch now? We're losing every week.
Yeah, especially if we go out of Europe as well in the next couple of weeks. I can see the last couple of home games being very low. But then you're always going to get your tourists go. So, you know, they're still going to pretty much shell out.
Do you think they'll do a lap of honour on the last home game?
No. It depends on if we're in the Europa League, doesn't it? Surely they don't do it if we're out. To Bodo Glimt. We go out to Bodo Glimt. Yeah, thanks for everything, guys.
I mean, ironically, of all seasons, this is where they should be doing a bloody lap of honour, just to sort of say sorry, really. But
they should. Yeah, it's not been good enough for the players as well.
A lap of apologies. They just go around and talk to
a lap of apologies.
A lap of dishonour. Yeah, that's what it is.
For me, Dan, there's a reason we ended up with Ange. You know, if the reports were true, there was quite a few managers who said not today. You know, who kind of put their phone on answer message. You know, there's a lot of managers. Graham Potter, quite a few of them said not today. So there was a reason that we ended up with Ange, and it's an indictment of where we are as a football club. And it's a little bit of a reality pill that I know people say, yeah, but we're Tottenham. But yeah, we are Tottenham. And why are certain managers not taking the job? You know, why are we ending up with 5th or 6th choice manager in Ange? And don't forget Nuno. You know, there was a joke going around that there's this number, do not answer. It's Daniel Levy asking you to apply for the job. Do not answer. You know, that was going on all the social media platforms. So Nuno, I think, was 7th choice when he took the job. Even managers like De Zerbi took the Brighton job over the Tottenham job. So
did he? Is that true?
Yeah, De Zerbi took the Brighton job over the Tottenham job. A friend of mine who lives in Brighton, is a taxi driver, was saying that De Zerbi made it very in the Brighton area that he would never work for Daniel Levy. So I think there's a certain level of manager that we can attract. and our stock is falling. Our stock is falling, and I think after Ange, it will be somebody like a Thomas Frank, who I think is a steady Eddie. I think he's a steady Eddie. He'll probably make us a little bit more compact, but there's a shelf life with him.
Is Thomas Frank or
There's a shelf life. Look,
yeah.
I've done a little bit of research here. Yeah. I don't think it'll be Iriola.
Okay.
I don't think.
Guys, let's hold the manager talk.
We're
going to talk about the manager near the end, right? So let's hold that. Let's. I just wanted to wrap up. Unless anyone wanted to say anything else about that?
No.
The recruitment, no. We can dip in and out later, maybe. But let's go back
on the recruitment, Dan. I'd just say I think what Ange said, we should take that as a warning. So when he's saying the recruitment strategy doesn't need to change, I think that's basically saying this is what
the budget is
going to carry on doing, right?
It's depressing stuff, man. It's depressing stuff. We all know this, don't we? Nothing's suddenly going to change under Levy. Look, we spent money, right? We spent money. We spent 60 million on Richarlison, 60 million on Solanke, Dembele. We do spend the money, but they've just not done the scouting right. They haven't chose the right players, and it's just so much waste of money. Now, because of that, they're tightening up the purse strings even more, are they? Maybe, guys, you think?
It looks that way, doesn't it?
I think it's the wage bill. I think we are going after players under a certain wage bill. If they fit that wage bill, there's a conversation to be had. But there's no coincidence. You look at our wage bill in comparison to the other so-called top 6, top 8. We're miles behind in wage bill.
Yeah, the wage bill is the biggest problem, isn't it, really? That we miss out on so many, top players due to not breaking the wage structure. That needs to change. It doesn't sound like it, though. It's going to, which is a huge concern. Okay, guys, let's jump on to the Europa League. I want to talk a little bit about that. So I've just got to bring up something on the screen. I've got some questions around it for you guys. Let's have a look now. And I saw this yesterday. Tell me, guys, what you think about this. Let's kick off with that. Anybody?
There's a couple of ways to spin that, though.
Go for it, Chris.
I go back years. I mean, I'm getting on a little bit. So go back years ago when the European Cup was actually the winners, right? So the flip of what you've just put up there is that so Forest deserve to be in the Champions League without winning anything, but Spurs who win a trophy don't. So I mean, what are you rewarding? There's got to be some incentive to winning competitions. So
yeah,
so
I've
got no problem.
That's fair. You don't think it's fair?
I've got no problem with the Europa League winners going in the Champions League. Yeah, I think we might possibly be the worst Europa League winners in history if we do win it, but separate conversation.
I think what it was kind of meaning was that we're like 16th in the league. We've been shocking, and then we find ourselves in the Champions League next season, kind of undeserving in a way because we're just not a Champions League team right now. Right, I think that's why I was kind of looking at it like that, and I get it from that point of view. But you're right; you can't just suddenly change who gets in the Champions League, who doesn't. I get that, Chris. Anybody else want to say anything about?
Yeah, but I can also say that the football changes very quick. Like, let's say we get a very good manager that is a very good fit, like Pochettino. It can happen, and then every of these players will be leveled up. We have a balanced system and a manager that actually takes into account, the senior and the youth players and very good with people and coaching abilities. So things can change very quick in football both ways.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. I want to talk a little bit more about that. If we do, look, we're talking about we're going to win it, but yeah, let's slow down a bit. We can talk about the what ifs, but before we carry on, I just want to say goodbye to Robbie. He's got to jump. Appreciate Robbie for coming on, mate. Please, people in the chat, if you haven't subscribed, Nige, if you get his link up for us, that'd be great, mate.
Yeah, no worries, mate.
Thanks for coming on, Robbie, mate.
appreciate it, lads. Next time I come, we'll have to have a new microphone and sort it out. Yeah. Cheers for having me on. I appreciate it. Good to have an out about Spurs, despite our rubbish teams on. And hope all of you have a smashing rest of the evening and week. Take care, guys.
Cheers, Robbie,
Take
mate.
care, buddy.
Take care.
Cheers,
See you later.
Yeah.
So look, let's talk about this Europa League situation, because I mean I was shocked last week that we went through. I really was. I was surprised that we had it in us to put in that kind of performance. Right, we were on it. We were competitive. It just wasn't the Spurs we've seen this season, and we find ourselves a massive opportunity to get to that final. I'm not going to pronounce the name again properly, Niko. What is it? Bodo, not Bodo. Is it?
Bodo Glimt.
Bodo Glimt. So
Yeah, it's the Norwegian. It's hard for foreigners to say. So Bodo Glimt.
So Niko, I'm going to ask you some questions about this team in a minute, but let's just start off with a question around the Europa League. Look, let's just run over the panel. How are you all feeling about it? Start off with Matt. How are you feeling about this Europa League?
I think it's been I can't remember how many games we've played, but it's been a long slog. But there's a silver lining, because as somebody said, if Tottenham or even Man United get to the final, it will be one of the worst on the form guide, one of the worst finalists in Europa League history. I think what I noticed in the game on Thursday is, I don't know if this was a manager's instructions or the players took it among themselves, but we seem to knock a few more long balls from back to front, especially in the first half. We didn't. I mean, it came back yesterday against Forest, but in the game against Frankfurt, we seemed to go long a lot earlier, which worked because it stopped them swarming on us in our own box and on the edge of our own box. So that's one thing that I noticed. But look, it will cover up a multitude of sins. If we were to win it, it would just cover up so many cracks and holes in the squad. But again, Levy might be thinking, all of a sudden this managerial position looks a little bit more appetizing if I do make the change, if we're a Champions League club. So it is Europa League or bust. You know, it's as simple as that. I done some reading the other day, and under Daniel Levy, the two trophies that we've won. No, sorry, the one trophy that we've won, we finished 11th in the league. That 2008 League Cup, we finished 11th. So what that suggests to me is, under his regime, the squad's never been strong enough to be competitive on all fronts. You know, of old, of Man City or Chelsea or Arsenal, you know, when they've won league titles, or, you know, they've always finished second, third or fourth in the league in whatever else they're competing in. Daniel Levy does the bare minimum, and we almost have to pick which cup or trophy we're going to go far in, but we can't seem to have a real good tilt at the league and win the FA Cup or win the Europa or win the Champions League. Something has to go, and it looks like that's going to happen this season, which is our league form.
No, fair points. Anyone else want to talk? Let's go to Nige, mate. How are you feeling about it all?
You know what? I think we have limped through to the semi-finals, but I'm not sure whether anyone else feels the same way. I actually think, okay, Spurs did well. Listen, we played okay out there. I was pleased with Ange. He tactically changed. We didn't play the high line in the second half. The fullbacks weren't inverted. He put three at the back the last 20 minutes. but I was actually expecting a lot more from Frankfurt. I think they maybe slightly shit the bed, if I'm honest, because I think they got the draw at Spurs, and from everything that was coming out from the manager during the week, it was very much like we've done the hard work. And I'm not sure whether maybe Frankfurt took their eye off the ball. I'm not taking anything away from Spurs because, Matt, you're right. They did play a lot of long balls in that first half, which I was actually really pleased with because I thought they might swarm us in that first half if we started playing out from the back. So that was a nice tactical change as well. But I actually think that maybe Frankfurt were not at their best and maybe they thought they'd kind of won the game before the game started. But hey, we're in the semi-finals and we've got to be looking to get into the final now. There's no excuses. We have a fully fit squad. I'm guessing Sonny's probably going to be back for the game. I don't know. But yeah, no excuses for me now. Let's go and win it.
Chris, how are you feeling about it?
I agree with a lot of what Nige just said, to be honest. I do think this, because of the new format, it's probably the poorest Europa League we've seen for many years, right?
Yeah.
None of the Champions League dropping down. But you can only beat who you can beat. My bigger worries are twofold. One, Ange's future. But even more than that, I do worry that this really would blow away some of the momentum behind the Change for Tottenham movement. But that's a slightly separate discussion, so I'll part that one for now. In terms of the competition, we can only do what we can do. So, I mean, if we go out to Bodo, Bodo. I was close. Second time.
Yeah.
If we go out to them, look, I mean, they've done well, right? You can't get to the semi-final by being rubbish. Well, maybe we have a little bit, but so they've done well. But is there any Tottenham fan who would have said if this had been our semi-final lineup that we'd have gone, oh my God, no, I mean, we would all taken it, right? So if we go out, I'm guessing, I've got no evidence for this, but I imagine like Son's weekly salary is more than their entire squad put together, I would have thought. There is no reason why
it's true.
Tottenham should be losing this
game.
game.
Do you think we'll beat them, Chris, over 2 legs?
I can't believe we won't beat them, but I mean, I've seen everything in my time as a Spurs fan. So I actually think, when these draws were made and we were drawn at home in the semi-final first leg, I thought that was going to be a massive problem for us. But I actually think it works in our favour now in this particular tie because they've got a few suspended. They don't travel particularly well. Their away form doesn't seem brilliant. So we can get a decent lead and go there and hopefully just stink out some performance in the second leg on the plastic pitch and hold on for grim death at the end. Whereas if it had been the other way around, I think it would have been a problem. But yeah, I mean, the bookies, I mean, I work in the betting industry. They don't often get it wrong. And there's a reason why we're huge favourites for this. So we should go through. And if we don't, I mean, it would be a proper stinking end to a stinking season, wouldn't it, if we lose this? But
it is unacceptable. We must get to the final. We can't lose the next game. We can't. Biggest embarrassment. No disrespect to the team because they have done well to get to the semi-finals. But we're Tottenham, man. Look, player to player, playing at home in the first leg. We've got to be taking a healthy lead back to their ground the week after. I mean, if we don't, I don't know what to say anymore. Honestly, I really don't. That is a winnable fixture. If you've looked back at the past in this competition, semi-final teams, European competition, you're not going to get a better chance to get to a final. You're not. This is.
I mean, the only thing is, I'm sure Lazio was saying exactly the same thing before the start of the previous round, right? So,
Yeah, but did you see the game? I heard Lazio. They should have won it.
I saw the stat. I haven't seen the game. I saw the stats of the game, and they had like 30 odd shots or whatever. So, but yeah, we're not known for our clinical finishing right at this moment in time. So,
but they had Bodo Glimt had a good. What should I say? Experience last year when they lost to Rome, with Mourinho was coaching them, and they cracked under pressure. So I think they learned from that experience in the Lazio match, and they actually stepped up there. Very impressive.
Niko, tell us about this team. You must know them a hell of a lot more than us.
Yeah, I don't follow that much domestic football, but they've been the best team in Norway several seasons. It's actually the city closest to my city. I live in Tromsø, and then Bodo is like it's a rival team for Tromsø, which is the city I live in, and they play a bit like we did under Poch. They have very good intensity, good system, passionate players, and very good structure in the club. But I think we should take them over 2 matches. I think what was mentioned, the suspensions, 2 of the most important central midfielders are suspended, and the occasion should be very big for them. I'm not sure though, because of the Lazio and Roma experience, but I think the problem is the plastic pitch. I don't remember. We played Young Boys, I think, some seasons ago in Champions League, and really struggled. But
we went 3-0 down, didn't we? That was right, didn't we? We clawed a couple of goals back late on.
Yeah.
And then won it in the return leg.
Yeah, they are a good team, but we should have more than them over 2 matches, and we have now confidence after going away in Germany, beating Frankfurt. So no excuses for me over 2 matches. We should go through.
No excuses, guys. Honestly, another question around that game, kind of what could happen. So, say if we win that Europa, right, and we qualify for the Champions League, I do think Spurs do need to bring in a better manager to take us forward next year. Yeah. I'm sure all of you guys agree on the panel. Now, who would be that guy? Who is the guy? Who would you want to come in? Let's just go around the panel. Whoever's got a manager on their mind.
Scott Parker was mentioned. Anybody agree with that?
Not for me.
Too little aura, or a bit too lightweight?
Just let him develop. Let Scott Barker develop a bit more. Yeah. It's too early to go for him. I'm not saying he's not bad. He's done a great job. He's just promoted Burnley yesterday. I heard that they've got some fantastic defensive record, right?
Yeah.
Conceded hardly any goals. Let him, too early at the moment. Maybe in the future, but not now.
Yeah. Stunk it out at Bruges as well, didn't he?
He did.
Yeah. For me, I like I say, I've been banging his drum for months. I will continue to, but I'd love to see Terzic come in at Spurs. I think he's a good young manager. It does concern me that he has been out of a job for a while, but I do like him.
What about the 3 when you have Iraola and Frank and Glasner? Which of these are the possible best fit for Tottenham? You have any opinions on that? It's hard for me I didn't see these teams that much this season.
And anybody want to take that one?
It's a hard one, I think.
A good question.
I've got an idea. So if it was out of the 3, I mean, it's crazy, isn't it? Any manager linked to Spurs, and they go on a bit of a losing run. I mean, maybe that's just coincidence. Glasner, for me, out of them all. So what is it? Glasner, you said, or Iraola and Frank. Yeah, I'd probably go maybe Glasner, then Frank, then Iraola. I think Glasner, he can set up a team to defend and attack. He's won the Europa League, he's got a bit more experience. You look what he's done with that Palace side. They lost players. I know it took a bit of time this season to kind of build them back up again, but he went on a fantastic run. I don't think we can do much worse than Glasner. Frank as well, I like him. Another good option. Guys, anybody else want to come in there?
Yeah, I agree. I think for me, Spurs is such a unique run football club with such, your margins of error are so small because you don't pay big wages. You have a very recruitment model, which normally is September the 1st. We never sign players before September the 1st, and we've played 3 or 4 games with 3 or 4 games behind everybody else. So for me, I think we need a manager that knows the league, can work within his means and can work upstairs as well as downstairs. And upstairs, I meaning can work with Levy and director of football. And I think Glasner's done that at Frankfurt. And I think Thomas Frank had a similar role at Brentford when Dean Smith was the manager. So I think those are the two that are calm as well. I think to manage Spurs, you need to have a little bit of a calmness about you, because Ange has shown in recent months that he's a little bit too emotional, especially when a mic's in front of him. And I think we need somebody that's got that Poch-esque about them in front of a mic. And I think Glasner and Frank have got that. They're cute in front of the mic.
Yeah, no, I agree. Definitely, you need similar. Somebody who can work with young players as well, develop them, put them into the team. Chris, did you say you wanted? I don't think you did.
No, I'm so beaten down by this season. I'd almost take anyone, really. It kind of depends what you think the ambitions are when we're appointing a new manager. And for me, I just want someone who I just want to feel some connection with the club and not be embarrassed when I'm watching us play, really. So anyone who can come in and try and get us to play a little bit as a unit. I mean, that's one criticism of many that I'd have of Ange, is that I don't think many players have improved at all during his time, but I've not seen any like partnerships or units or anything in the team in 2 years. They're just like a bunch of individuals thrown on the pitch. And whereas you look at, I know we go back to Poch. I'm not massively in favour of us getting Poch back, but you know, we were a unit, right? We had back four that worked together as a team, and then you know the defensive shield in front of them. They all work together with each other. So any manager that can do that. So I'd take any of them that have been mentioned, to be honest. I don't see a massive difference between like Frank and Glasner and that. But if you're going to push me, I like the way Glasner comes across. I'd like to see him given a chance. He's got a good... He's probably got the strongest CV of those three, Iraola, Frank and Glasner, in terms of doing it elsewhere as well. So I'd probably edge towards him. I agree, though, with what I think Matt just said about, I think we've been stung here with Ange, and I'd like to see someone who's got a bit of experience in the Premier League, because we need a calming influence, first of all, who's going to bring us together as the players and the team and just settle us down. Frankly, settling us down is just getting us back in the top half next season and having some hope as a fan base and not being embarrassed all the time. So I'd hope that any of those could do it. But any appointment's a risk, isn't it? So, but I do worry, going back to what Matt said earlier, like, are we sure that they would take these jobs? I'm not 100. It depends what else is on offer, right? Because if any other club who's remotely better organised than us, I know it's very unlikely, but you never know what happens in football. If Newcastle job comes up or the Villa job comes up,
Man United
job, that they ain't coming to us if they've got those as an option, are they? So we literally have to be someone's only option, really, or we're competing against the likes of championship teams, really, to be a more attractive proposition. So
that's crazy, isn't it? That is crazy. Now, look,
Huddersfield.
It does sound... What's that? Sorry, Matt, did you say something? No?
No, I was just going to say a club like Huddersfield. No offense to any Huddersfield fans, but yeah, if we're competing with Huddersfield for the manager job.
That's crazy. Look, this does sound like there's going to be some changes in the summer. You know, there's a CEO they're bringing in, Vinay. What's going to happen to Scott Munn? It was reported in the Mail that he could be out the door. Don't know what truth that is there in that. You know, we're talking about bringing Paratici back, Lange. So look, maybe a shake-up in the summer, hopefully for the better. We can only hope. And I'm sure that... the Three Stooges. Yeah. I'm sure they are planning. You know, I'm sure even if we do win the Europa League with Ange, he's not the man to take us forward. They must be looking at who they're going to bring in. What's the plan?
I just think that they bring in these people just to make money. Like, that's the only reason they changed and chopped it, just for economical benefits or saving money, or seems like the structure is just, they're good at making money, great at making money. So,
but look, a lot of fans' opinions is it's just another shield for Levy.
yeah.
If you listen to what the journalists say, they say Vinay is good coming in. You know, it's a good
What does he
person
do?
to bring into a club.
What does he
I
do?
don't know enough about him. I mean, it's mixed from the Arsenal fans. If you look at what they say about Vinay, very mixed. I think it's more negative than other.
How often do we say, though, Dan? It feels like every 18 months or so we say, there's got to be a plan in the summer. There's got to be a plan in the summer. And then the summer
Yeah.
comes and we're into the middle of July. Nothing's happened. The transfer window's open. We're not signing anyone.
Yeah.
This is Enid's last window to get it right. I mean, if I hear that once more.
I know. I'm concerned that we're going to be searching for a manager and it's going to be another fourth or fifth choice.
I'm just looking at this season that this has just been a disaster, hasn't it? Obviously, if we win the Europa League, then.
But one thing, Dan, I'm going to say one thing in defence of Ange. You hear nothing from anyone else at the club in terms of taking any accountability for anything ever over what the terrible decisions have been for a very long time. You hear absolutely nothing. The last we heard from Levy was we've got our Tottenham back, right? How did that work out?
But they are comfortable. That's why they don't. And that what Conte said, right? This is the story of Tottenham. They don't want to win. I want to see the fire in the eyes.
The killer point in that was Tottenham. I can't remember exactly what he said. Tottenham have got to decide if they want to change, because if they don't, you can keep changing the manager.
They don't like to play under pressure. They don't play under pressure.
Everything he said is just proven to be 100% spot on, and yet half of our fan base think he's like the devil. I think we should build a blooming statue out of him outside the stadium. But
they hate the winner in Tottenham. People hate winners, like real winners. They're not suitable to Daniel Levy. Simple as that. It's terrible. It's true.
Guys, I've got a couple of questions for you guys before we move on to the Liverpool game. It's just guys, give us your thoughts on these questions. I mean, they're not very nice, so I'm sorry about that. But yeah, let's test you guys with this. Ready?
Bring it. Yeah, exactly.
Wow, that's brutal.
Oh, can I ask a question first? Is there any chance before I answer this that I could get a refund on my season ticket for next year? If that's a yes, then maybe.
It's a good question. Well,
mate, I'll go first. I've got to say yes. I've got to say I will take it, because look, we don't win anything, and it's been 41 years since we won a European trophy. I'm 45. So if I project that forward, I'll be dead before we get to another or win another European trophy. So I can't stand Ange at all. And I hate all of this, but yeah, I will take the trophy because I'm just not used to seeing my team win a trophy.
But we had the best moments of our lives at Tottenham support under Pochettino, and we didn't win a single trophy because it's the small stuff. It's the details. It's the togetherness. We loved just anticipating watching Tottenham. You knew every match something special was going to happen. Ali and Eriksson and all these details and celebrating with the team. That's equally important as seeing the trophy. I'm sorry, it's just the trophy. I would love it more than anybody else, but it is just it's hard. I want consistent, good emotions around my team. If it's just like the trophy is just
there is a comment that's just been made in the chat by Adam Phillip, and he's spot on. So if we do win the trophy and Ange stays, he'll be gone anyway by November. So
yeah,
100%, Adam. Yeah, he won't last.
Yeah.
But what's the alternative to that? You said if we win the Europa League, Ange stays, and we. So what's the alternative? If we don't win the Europa League, do we get Poch back and we finish in the top 4? Then I take that, because I'd rather see us up near the top.
So, Nige, you
I haven't
wouldn't
seen
take
us
the
win anything
trophy?
for so long. I haven't seen us win anything for so long. I can take an extra year or two if we get a top manager in that's going to give us a chance of winning something anyway.
Because it's not out of the realms of impossible that Ange wins that trophy and he keeps the job. Knowing Levy and this board and bloody mess they are.
We're gonna meet United in the final and
It's a tough
lose.
one.
That's so.
That would be Spursy, yeah. Beaten 3 times this season and losing the final.
Exactly.
lose
And
match.
yeah, the
actual match.
occasion will be too big. That's the Tottenham. That's the Tottenham deal.
Yeah,
So
I would
Go on,
say,
Matt, you
Dan,
answer it.
though, I would say to fast forward, if, and I hope to God we do win the Europa League, but I think Ange isn't changing anytime soon. So fast forward to 8 Champions League group matches, and knowing Tottenham will be in the group of death, we'll probably have Real Madrid and, so I can't see us getting out the group.
It's a league now, Matt. It's a league. It's a big old league.
Yeah.
So it's like 8 random teams.
Yeah, but what I mean though is you still got to finish in a certain
Yeah.
in the league to get out the group. So I can't. I think we're going to be in a group of death, even if we do get into the Champions League. Ange is still going to play this kamikaze, gung ho, Keystone Cups football, and we'll be put to the sword more often than not. I think league performances will plummet as well. So I think his epitaph has been written. It's just a case of when. So I think fast forward to October, November, and I think he'll be out of a job anyway.
So, Nige, you would take the trophy, and have Ange here next year, even how painful it is. Chris, you the same? Yeah. Niko, you wouldn't take the trophy,
Actually, not. I never expected to say this because I love the trophies are the measure of success, but for me, actually, it has changed. Sorry, because for me, if I look back at my time as a Tottenham supporter, what made me most happy? It was moments in matches, like the Ajax game in the Champions League, like seeing Berbatov's silky touch, the interchange in matches that when they celebrate together. Just moments. For me, it's more actually the most important. Consistent, good moments, and you feel that under Portugal we were part of Tottenham. We were part of the manager, the group, the team, identity. Yeah, so it's a no. Actually, it's a no from me.
Can I just back that up? Although I disagree with, I would take the trophy. I have this argument a lot with people who say that football's just about winning things. I totally disagree. I couldn't back you up more that football is about moments, and it's about things that are just blow you away, that are just completely unexpected, that come from nowhere, right? I'm even going back to, I was at Leicester when we scored twice at the end with Bergwijn, right? It's things like that. It's not how much, especially to the teams that win all the time, like Man City, great, they won a fifth Premier League or whatever. Does that mean as much as like the Ajax game? Like football's about joy. It's about feeling that joy, and we haven't felt that for a long time.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay, so Matt, you'll obviously take the trophy, yeah?
Every day of the week. Yeah.
I would, and it pains me to say, but I fear again next season with Ange again. I mean, oh my days. How could we go through it? Coming onto YouTube, talking about it every week. It's just been depressing. It's been so hard moaning every week about Ange and the mistakes and him not learning, his whole attitude.
Dan, just a question. Do you picture yourself if we win the Europa League? Let's say
that'd be fantastic. It'll be
fantastic.
Listen.
Yeah, just listen. If we win it, can you see yourself like you're celebrating, and then Ange has a press conference and he cries, and you're like, I
won't watch his press conference. I'll just be
it's going to be the most arrogant press conference of any manager in history.
Can you imagine? I'll win in my second season.
Yeah.
I'd like
if he does
to
a
do
press
like
conference,
a mic drop. Just go, there you go. I've won it. Now you can all off and I'm off.
Yeah.
Hey, mate, thank you very much.
So if he does a press conference and cries at the end of it, I will cry too, but it would be because of him, not spite of him.
I'll cry when Levy comes out and says he's extended his contract. I'll definitely be crying then.
Guys, what this situation with this Europa League, and we can win it. I'm not saying we will. We can. There's a chance.
Yeah,
Man
will.
United or Flesh.
We will.
There is a chance we could win that trophy. And what on my days, how is the fan base going to deal with that?
Isn't it funny?
Because a lot of them don't like Ange.
Isn't it funny that like all the managers that we've kind of loved over the years, like Jarl, Redknapp, Poch are probably the three that people would go to.
Yeah.
If Ange wins, the last three managers to win things will be George Graham, Wande Ramos, and Ange Postecoglou. I mean, crazy.
This is the stars aligning, right? This could happen, right? Honestly, guys, I think we can win it, but will we?
No, but just like if we meet Bilbao in the final, not United, they keep control of the possession. They're tactically clever.
Do you know them, Niko? Do you watch them?
Yeah, I know the Spanish teams are excellent with possession. They have great attacking wingers. Niko, Williams
brothers,
Yeah.
Williams.
Yeah, they have so many good players. I mean, come on, we're not going to win this Europa League. I don't think.
I mean, if we get to the final, you never know.
If you invert fullbacks, it's going to be a nightmare with Nico Williams, isn't it?
Oh, Jesus. That's got to be big.
Nico Williams picks up an injury. Who knows?
Sorry,
you know?
I just don't see it. Sorry.
You play Spence instead of Porro. You match up Williams. There's tactical things you can do. You don't have to. This is it with Ange, isn't it? You just worry about him in a tactical sense. This is why. That run in this Europa League has been fairly straightforward. Let's be real here.
Yeah, and like I said earlier, they can actually play just for themselves and solve it within the group and whatever. Like Ange doesn't care as long as he wins the trophy.
Do you think they did that though, guys? Do you think the players actually did it for themselves rather than Ange?
I think that's an element of.
It wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah.
They turned up, didn't they? They turned up last week, and they turned up before.
They're professional footballers, and they're 3 games away from winning a medal, right? So, whereas the league, like, what's their motivation for the league at the moment? Absolutely nothing.
But the reason I'm not sure is just because I don't know the how good are Frankfurt compared to what we meet in the Premier League. That's the big question for me. That's why I'm not sure.
I didn't think they were great, Frankfurt guys. I did not.
No, exactly.
They've dropped off since losing Marmouche as well, haven't they? Quite a bit.
Yeah. They were great. And we did right. We didn't give them any space in behind like they did at our ground, and they really, really struggled. Horrible question, guys, but thank you for answering it all. Thank you, people in the chat as well. A difficult one. Let's have another question for you guys before we move on to Liverpool. One more, and then we've got to wrap it up with the Liverpool chat. Let's have a look now. Where is it now? One more question. I think we'll just head on to the Liverpool match. Let's have a look. Now, Nige, did you manage to get anything about that Liverpool game?
Well, I was just looking at recent results against Liverpool, and I went back to literally 2001, which is like pretty much when Levy took over. And so since 2001, we have won once, lost 17, and drew 7. So it's just a question of how do we go about beating them or getting anything now?
What is it with Liverpool?
We can't.
Yeah, that's the answer, Matt, isn't it? We can't. Nothing we can do. They're going to challenge the title.
That would be Spurs in a nutshell.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right now, winning. That's the only thing I think maybe we have a chance is that Liverpool maybe obviously going for the title, chance to win it. Maybe they don't turn up on the day, but it's unlikely. Liverpool usually always turn up.
Yeah, they turn up. Of course they will, and win in front of their own fans. And we're losing that game. It's simple as that.
Look, Ange said yesterday that he's not making many changes to the team.
So,
Are you surprised he said that?
no, because he says a lot of stuff. He contradicts himself. He deflects all the time. That's what I said earlier about him being smart in press conferences. He deflects and contradicts himself so much that I think he does that on purpose. Because today, with the attention span, it's so short, and they never confront him, the journalists. So basically, I think he gets a free pass because every time they're a bit critical, he's a bit aggressive and just arrogant. So I think he knows what he's doing he's a philosopher, not a manager. I stand by that. I think he's a philosopher.
A philosopher.
Well, he is Greek, isn't he? So in good company.
I really think he is smart, but he's smart enough to know also that he's not good enough for this league and this. So he plays the game. He's a smart guy. I think he's smarter than people think he is.
I don't know how we get anything out of Liverpool. It's just damage limitation, isn't it, really?
Yeah.
Not coming away from Anfield with not being thrashed. Now, we've played them how many times? Three times this season, right? So they battered us at home.
3 times, yeah.
And then we beat them 1-0 in the first leg of the Carabao Cup. But then we went to Anfield and got absolutely battered.
Yeah.
And it was just, we showed nothing that day. Absolutely nothing in that semi-final. I mean, this is just these players as well. So they turn up against Frankfurt away, but then they don't turn up against Liverpool away. It's just, I know Liverpool are a much better team than Frankfurt. I get that. But I don't know, man. Last season we went to Anfield. We were battered in the first half, weren't we? 3-4-0 down, wasn't it? Something like that. Then we did get a couple of goals back with Richarlison. It's just one of those games where we just got to get over with and look ahead to next Thursday.
Yeah. We got back to 3-3, didn't we, last season in the last minute, and then still managed to throw it away.
Was that last season, Chris?
I think it was last season.
What was that the one before?
I don't know. You lose track of all the losses at Anfield.
That was the one before Lucas Moura knocked the ball straight into Yotta's path.
Yeah.
You remember, he knocked it straight into Yotta's path to make it 4-3 in like the 93rd minute.
That was under Mason. I'm sure that was a Mason game.
That was Richarlison's first league goal for us.
That's right, yeah. So Richarlison came off the bench, I believe, to make it 3-3. Lucas Moura came on as a sub, and then it was just a lazy punt into the right back position. He could have let it run out for a goal kick. He could have kicked it out for a throw in, and he kind of weighted it straight into Yotta's path. He didn't even have to break stride. Left foot, bottom corner. We took the ball up to the centre circle, and referee blew the whistle 4-3.
Yeah, no, you're right, Dan. I just checked you. You're spot on what you said. We were 4 down and we got 2 back at the end last season.
But we've had opportunities in Anfield where we could have got results. Sissoko, I remember blowing it over the bar. We got a good draw under Poch there. Came with a fantastic goal.
We had, was it Bergwijn at the post with under Mourinho?
Yeah, Mourinho, that's right. There was another one as well.
Wanyama's goal.
Conte, Wanyama, fantastic goal, wasn't it? Yeah. Conte went there, grinded out. Sessegnon got a goal. Got a draw, I think. So we have got the odd draw at Anfield, but no, under Ange, knowing that Liverpool will take the title, Salah, fantastic season he's having, isn't he?
We're too open.
Fantastic season.
We're too open. Too open at Anfield.
I mean, can you imagine that we go there and start putting our fullbacks into central midfield? I'm like, oh my God.
But we have to remember one positive thing. Ben Davies contract extension. This is going to happen, right? It's going to get another year.
I've got a positive for you, Dan.
Go for it.
Oliver Skip won't be playing at left back this time.
Oh my days. Look, what about the guys? What about the Romero thing today? Anybody saw the interview?
No.
Yeah.
What did he say?
Yeah.
I don't blame him.
Yeah.
Like, I'd want to
Yeah.
leave.
No.
I've got no problem with it. I've got
What
no
did he
problem
say?
with it. But basically, he'll speak to his. He wants to get the season out the way, and let's see. But he would like to play in Spain.
Yeah.
It's one of the leagues he's never played in. I've got no
Yeah.
problem with it. No
Yeah,
It
problem.
was a bit of a. I mean, it's a good question, wasn't it? Because whoever was asking him the questions kind of said, "What other league would you like to play in?" And all he said was like, Spain. Just
Yeah.
I didn't see a
At the
problem
end of
with
the
that.
day, like I don't blame him for wanting to leave, and I don't think too many of us are going to be crying too many tears when he does go. Right, decent player, but he's never seemingly that
No.
committed to us.
Yeah, but he's like like I said earlier, like every winner we have, they get disillusioned. That's what it is, and they just don't give a shit when it comes to, because they see the environment. It's not a winning environment. So if he goes to Atletico Madrid or Real Madrid, I think actually Atletico suits him perfect with his style of
Made
play.
for them, though, isn't it?
Yeah, so you get the disillusion because you want to win, but you see there's no leaders. There's no. I'm not saying he's perfect, but I think just the environment for him is, it's not the right.
I think you're spot on, because look how disillusioned we are as a fan base. So if you don't think the players are going to be feeling similar, like of course they are.
Yeah.
Okay, Aussie and Aussie, evening to you. So let's talk about this. He's livening it up right near the end of the show before we sign off. 2 semi-finals in one season. Only second time in Spurs Prem League era. Not a bad run in the FA Cup either. Well, no, we got knocked out early. But hey, sack the guy that got you back into Europe. I mean,
not a bad run in the FA Cup. We drew 0-0 at Tamworth in 90 minutes, and then we absolutely crap at Villa.
It's not enough.
Also for Ange, there's something called the league table as well. You might want to go and have a look at that.
Yeah.
Completely forgot to mention that part, didn't he?
The only thing I'd add to that as well is, the people who want to argue we should keep him on for the Europa League. I think if just forget the competitions for a moment, you just take all the games Ange's managed as a whole. When you're up at like 90% of crap, the fact that a few of them happen to have fallen kindly in the Europa League and we've got our way through to the semi-final and might even win it, I don't think is nearly good enough to redeem him.
And then he's here again. Pity the fan base distracts from him and creates a negative and toxic environment. The players understand the mission. Pity the fans don't. Come on, Gaffer, hands we trust.
He creates the toxic environment because he doesn't know what he's doing. Period.
Starts arguing with reporters, arguing with the fans. Who's the toxic one?
Exactly. So,
look, guys, it's not good enough. It's not good enough this season. You can't defend it, man. Look, we're Tottenham Hotspur, man. We shouldn't be 16th in the league, possibly on course for record defeats in the league.
Yeah.
We've had the most home defeats in our history yesterday.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not going to go over all the stats. We've all seen them today. I mean, they just go on and on and on. Look, we all want to win that Europa League and we'll all back the team. But doesn't mean you like the manager.
Exactly.
Don't have to like the manager. You can still support the team and be happy and celebrate.
Yeah.
That's what I think.
The whole relationship's broken. Like, I don't think he likes us anymore. We don't like him. You can't continue that. Like, maybe if it had been different and we got some sort of manager that we believed in or had some sort of rapport with, maybe you could say, like, maybe we would be willing to give him a bit more time. But it's completely broken down with this guy. Completely broken down. Maybe at another club, like Celtic fans love him. Great. It's not worked here. It just hasn't.
No, he's been found out in the Premier League, and he has, and he's so stubborn. He refuses to adapt. He never turns around and says, "I've got my tactics wrong." He just infuriates me. Absolutely infuriates me. He never just takes ownership and just and even the game against Frankfurt, he didn't come out and say, "Guys, I changed it up tonight." Doesn't say it, does he? He doesn't. Why?
I mean, he's at the point now, I think, where anything good happens, it's actually quite I don't know what the word is, like in these press conferences, there's now always a little bit of sniping back now. Anytime there's anything good, the whole cupping of the ear stuff and all of that kind of thing. It's like, I don't think the guy's got much class, really, if I'm honest.
No. And Jossie saying at the bottom there, remember Arsenal was 20th and 15th at one stage under Arteta. Yeah, that was after 3 games when we were top and Arsenal were bottom.
Yeah.
Come on,
Not
man.
comparable.
He's obviously just trolling. It's not even worth the oxygen to read his comments out, I'd say.
It's not, but look, it just winds you up because, it's just so bad. It is so bad. Now, I do believe that next season, if we do bring in a good coach, that things will be better. It's not going to be perfect. It's not going to be easy, because these players, they've lost their way a lot. A lot of coaching needs to go back in the side, especially the defending. Recruitment's got to be better. It's not going to be straightforward, but I do believe with the right manager that we can come back a little bit next season and have a little bit of pride in watching our team and look forward to watching our team winning games, celebrating goals. And we've lost it. We've lost it this season. We've become motionless. We've just become losing is the norm under Ange, and I'm sick to death of it. I can't wait for him to leave.
That's one thing that's winding me up at the moment is the fans who now, like after the Forest game, are just like, oh, it doesn't matter. I'm like, well, yeah, I don't agree with that at all. And it's exactly what you just said, Dan. We are so used to losing now. Our standards have gone. We don't even care. It's like, oh yeah, we'll just lose the rest of the games for the rest of the season. Like, what are you talking about? Let's just have a bit of pride in your performance, or it's embarrassing where we are.
Guys, well, I think we'll wrap it up. It's been a fantastic show. Honestly, really good show tonight. Great discussion in such bad times, eh? We've had a bit of a giggle. Some brilliant comments, brilliant stuff from everybody on the panel tonight, people in the chat, big up. Please remember to subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Please like the stream, much appreciated. Please go over to Nige as well and give him a sub. We'll be back next week. Chris, thanks so much for coming on, man. Yeah, brilliant stuff. Matt, again, you as well. Thank you so much. Brilliant stuff. And also Niko as well. A surprise late guest to the show, but brilliant stuff, man.
Thanks for having me.
No worries.
And teaching us how to pronounce
Bodo Glimt.
Yeah, thanks, man. It's been great. Great show under terrible times, but man, we'll be back next week. I mean, bloody hell, talking about Liverpool, eh? Looking ahead to the Europa League game on Thursday, probably more likely. But look, it is what it is. Guys, good evening to everybody. Thank you for everyone watched the show tonight throughout the stream, and take care of yourselves. And come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs. Yeah.